Hey there, welcome to video number 2. I'm Amy, and what I'm going to talk about today is a little bit difficult for me to talk about, but I really want to make this the most honest and authentic experience possible, not only for myself, but I think to make it the most helpful for other people that might be going through similar things. I'm using my courage, like I talked about in my last video. So this takes a lot of it. It takes a lot of courage to kind of share my story with you guys. And I want to go back a little bit, just to give you an idea of kind of how I got where I am today, to the period where I quit my job. That was kind of like the catalyst, I think, for a lot of this journey. So a few months ago, I got myself into kind of a dark place. I was working nonstop. I was not taking care of myself. In fact, the only thing I cared about was, work, being able to work no matter what the cost. In my line of work, I write a lot of notes because we see clients and then we write up the notes. And the notes are really cumbersome and they take a lot of time. And sometimes you get behind in them and then you have to catch up and it's like a whole thing. But what started happening to me, the more burnt out I got, the more tired I got, and the less I took care of myself and the weaker I felt, was I started to compensate in really destructive ways. I have ADHD, like many people out there in the world, and I had a prescription for Vyvanse. Well, I found that if I took, more and more than my prescribed dose, I would get that much more done, and it would make me feel like I could handle everything that was being thrown at me. I could do all those notes in one sitting. I could see all those clients. I could, plus come home and do my laundry, plus everything else that was on my to-do list that just made me feel so overwhelmed. I just wanted to go hide. So it was to the point where I was just, needless to say, up and down. And then what would happen is I would run out of my medication early, and then I would be fucked and I would be a slug, and it would be hard for me to even get out of bed or want to do anything during the day. So eventually it really made it a lot harder in the long run, but that's where I was at. It was, I don't care about my body. I don't care about my health. All I care about is that I can do the things that I need to get done, and that I can do well in my job, and that I can, on my own too. And that's the other thing is, I found that it was much easier just to take an extra pill than to ask for help or ask for support or admit that I was struggling, admit that I couldn't do it all. A little more on that later. So it got to the point where it was really wearing on my relationship with my husband, and it was at the point where I couldn't even function at work anymore. And I was just not in a good place. And my husband sat me down and was like, I don't think you can work at this place anymore. It's just, you're all over the place. You're not happy. You don't look like you're okay. And I wasn't okay, and that was true. So I was honest with him, and I told him what was going on. And I was terrified to do that because, this man that I just married, I didn't want him to be like, oh shit, the woman I just married is a pill popper, like that's never what you want your loved ones to think of you. Plus I was ashamed. I was I was really ashamed, and I I quit my job. I did, because I knew that I didn't have the tools at that point to be able to do my job well and be okay and take care of myself. So without having anything else lined up, or knowing what the hell I was gonna do, I quit my job, and I I found a really awesome therapist, because therapists need therapists too. And I stopped. I went to a new psychiatrist, told one that wouldn't prescribe me any, ADHD meds or anything that I could potentially abuse, because I can't be trusted with pills. But and I was like, you know what, like, for the first time in my life, I really want to get help, because I don't know why, but getting help was always something that was really hard for me. Whether it was asking for help, admitting that I was struggling, I always wanted to do it by myself. But I'm really taking this time to learn how to ask for help, how to get help, because it turns out life is not sustainable on your own. Nobody can do it on their own, and it's only going to trying is only going to drive you to destruction. And it's funny, I didn't even know what support looked like. I didn't even know what it felt like. But I'll tell you, it feels amazing. Being honest with your loved ones and people that care about you, and being able to say, like, this is what's going on with me, or I'm struggling, or I don't know how to do this, I'm scared, is so freeing, because you don't even realize the weight you're carrying until it's lifted and you don't have to carry it alone anymore. I don't know how I went so long without it, but I'm also realizing, like, I need to care about myself, and I need to put myself, my health, my relationships first. So what? So what if I don't get my notes done in time? It's not worth killing yourself, destroying relationships, and being unhappy. And I feel like until I know how to use support, and until I know how to lean on others, and until I know how to take care of myself, I'm not ready for much else. So that's a lot of what I've been working on in this time. It's really scary, but it's been really good. And I'm really excited for the first time in a while of what's to come in my future. So I will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to my story.